You've heard of Big Pharma's greatest triumphs, but what you haven't heard is the secret formula they stole from a woman living on the streets. Until now, the autumn sun filtered through golden maple leaves as 72-year-old Eleanor Whitmore settled onto her favorite park bench in Willow Creek, Oregon. Her arthritic fingers clutched a thermos of peppermint tea while she watched the town's morning rituals, joggers on the path, young mothers pushing strollers, and the homeless woman who always sat cross-legged by the fountain, scribbling in a battered notebook. Today was different. As Eleanor opened her newspaper, a sudden gasp made her look up. The homeless woman, mid-50s with salt and pepper braids, was coughing violently, her weathered hands gripping the fountain's edge. Without thinking, Eleanor hurried over, her nurse's training from 40 years ago kicking in. "Here, dear," she said gently, offering her thermos. "Peppermint helps." The woman recoiled initially, then accepted with trembling hands. Eleanor noticed something peculiar. Chemical equations filled the notebook's margins. "That's advanced pharmacology," Eleanor blurted, recognizing formulas from her late husband's medical research. The woman snapped the notebook shut. "Just doodles," she muttered. But when Eleanor mentioned her husband's work at Biogenics Pharmaceuticals, the woman's steel blue eyes flashed with unexpected intensity. "Biogenics stole my life's work," she whispered, before Eleanor could respond. A black SUV pulled up nearby. The woman panicked, clutching her ratty backpack like it held state secrets. "They still watch me," she hissed. "My name's Dr. Grace Hartley. And if you want proof of the biggest medical fraud in history, meet me tonight at the library." As the SUV idled, Grace disappeared into the morning crowd, leaving Eleanor staring at the notebook page that had fluttered to the ground, covered in formulas for what looked like a revolutionary Alzheimer's treatment, and stamped property of Biogenic Labs. The Willow Creek Public Library's basement storage room smelled of mildew and forgotten histories. Eleanor's cane tapped nervously as she pushed through the door, half expecting an ambush. Instead, she found Grace Hartley bathed in the green glow of a microfilm reader, her face calm but alert. "They buried it in patent filings," Grace said without preamble, sliding Dead's old documents across the table. Eleanor's breath caught as she recognized her late husband's signature witnessing Grace's original research. "Richard knew?" Grace nodded grimly. "He tried to help me fight them when they stole my memory enchantment formula. Then his accident happened." Eleanor's hands trembled, remembering the questionable car crash that killed Richard. Grace produced a yellowed lab notebook, her meticulous records of Project Mnemosyne, a breakthrough Alzheimer's treatment. Biogenics rebranded it as MemoriCore and made billions. Grace spat. "While I lost my lab, my home, my credibility." Eleanor traced the detailed formulas, identical to those in Richard's private journals. Outside, tires screeched. Grace shoved a USB drive into Eleanor's cardigan pocket. "The full evidence, go." Suddenly, library lights flickered. "Security cameras are looped," Grace muttered, ushering Eleanor toward the emergency exit. "They monitor everywhere." As Eleanor hobbled home, a black SUV crawled past her house. That night, she plugged in a drive, reviewing video files of board meetings where Biogenics executives discussed silencing Grace. The final clip showed CEO Charles Rutherford smirking. "Homeless people aren't credible witnesses." Eleanor's grief transformed into rage. At dawn, she marched to the nursing home where she volunteered, a plan forming. If Grace couldn't enter corporate strongholds, maybe a sweet old lady with a walker could. Sunlight streamed through the floral curtains of Maple Grove Senior Living's activity room as Eleanor arranged what appeared to be an innocent bingo event. Her walker's basket concealed a voice recorder, while her hearing aid was actually Grace's miniature camera. Among the players sat 89-year-old Mr. Peterson, former Biogenics CFO, now battling advanced dementia. "Remember your big deals, Henry?" Eleanor asked sweetly, placing his medicine cup beside the bingo cards. "Like that MemoriCore wonder drug?" Peterson's cloudy eyes suddenly sharpened. "Had to silence that Hartley woman," he muttered, fingers trembling. Rutherford said, "Permanent solution." Eleanor's blood ran cold. She hummed a lullaby, their prearranged signal for Grace, disguised as a janitor outside. "The camera captured everything. We paid off the regulators," Peterson continued, lost in memories. "Changed the trial data. She had the real cure." Suddenly, the door burst open. A stone-faced nurse strode in. "Medication time, Mr. Peterson." Eleanor's heart raced as the nurse confiscated the old man's pills, but not before Grace, now mopping nearby, palmed one. Later, in Eleanor's garage-turned lab, Grace analyzed the pill. "This is watered-down garbage," she exclaimed, comparing it to her original formula. "They're giving seniors fractions of the dose to stretch profits." The pieces fell into place. Biogenics had not only stolen Grace's work, but was knowingly providing substandard medication to vulnerable elders. Eleanor stared at the photo of her late husband on her workbench. "Richard would want us to finish this," she said firmly. Using her knitting group as cover, they organized. Martha from book club knew a retired judge. Fred had a nephew at the Oregonian. By sundown, their ragtag army of seniors was mobilizing, because sometimes the people everyone overlooks make the best whistleblowers. The Willow Creek Gazette office hummed with tension as Eleanor's army of seniors descended. Grace, now cleaned up and wearing Eleanor's late husband's blazer, stood before retired investigative journalist Harold Jenkins. "We need this to go national," Eleanor insisted, spreading documents across his desk. Jenkins adjusted his bifocals, scanning Grace's original formulas against Biogenics patents. "Good Lord," he breathed, "this is bigger than thalidomide." Meanwhile, 82-year-old Martha used her Bridge Club connections to access the courthouse archives, unearthing buried FTA complaints. Fred's nephew live-streamed Grace explaining the science to his 200 followers. By noon, seniors against Big Pharma trended nationwide. Biogenic responded with fury. Cease-and-desist letters arrived via motorcycle couriers, but Eleanor's group simply added them to their evidence wall. When a smug lawyer threatened Grace with trespassing charges, 90-year-old war veteran George wheeled forward. "I fought real tyrants," he barked. "Get off my porch." That evening, their triumph turned to terror. Grace's makeshift shelter was ransacked. Her research copies stolen. Eleanor found her trembling under the library stairs. "It's over," Grace whispered, but Eleanor gripped her walker like a weapon. "We have backups everywhere: church basements, knitting baskets, even Mildred's cookie jar." As news vans rolled into Willow Creek, CEO Rutherford took to television, dismissing Grace as a delusional addict. But he hadn't counted on Eleanor's masterstroke arranging for Mr. Peterson to testify via video from his nursing home bed, as the frail man described boardroom conspiracies. America watched in horror. The tide was turning, but Rutherford had one last move, releasing falsified records claiming Grace had sold her research voluntarily. The town held its breath, unaware that in Eleanor's attic, the final piece of evidence was about to change everything. The crowded town hall fell silent as Eleanor's vintage projector flickered to life. On screen, her late husband Richard appeared in a never-seen home video, holding Grace's original formula. "This will change medicine," Richard said. Date stamp confirming it preceded Biogenics' patent by years. The dam broke. FTA agents raided Biogenics' headquarters that night, while Eleanor's knitting circle distributed Grace's proper formula to desperate families. In the ensuing congressional hearings, Grace, now wearing a crisp lab coat, calmly explained her research to stunned senators. "You tried to bury me," she said, locking eyes with a shackled Rutherford. "But you forgot soil is where healing grows." The $2.03 billion settlement funded free clinics and dementia research, with Grace overseeing every dollar. On Main Street, Eleanor smiled through tears as Hartley Whitmore Medical Center opened in the abandoned pharmacy. Inside, seniors received proper doses while Grace worked in a sunlit lab, her homeless days behind her. At the dedication ceremony, 95-year-old Martha cut the ribbon with her walker. "Never underestimate old broads with time on their hands," she quipped. That evening, Eleanor and Grace sat on their park bench watching fireflies dance. "Richard would be proud," Eleanor murmured. Grace squeezed her hand. "We did it together." As Willow Creek's church bells chimed, the two women, one who'd lost everything, one who'd found purpose, sat side by side, proving that justice, like fine wine, only gets better with age.